Hello and welcome to Green Shoots. I'm Anisha Nayar Dhawan. Green Shoots is a program where we catch up with startup founders and talk to them about the genesis, the growth, and the future of their ventures. On this show today, I'm joined by Srinath Mukherji, co-founder and director, Sana Insurance Brokers. Thank you so much, Srinath, for joining us on the show Green Shoots. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Anisha, for having me on the show. It's really a privilege. So I will give you, I suppose, a little bit background about Sana.insure, Sana Insurance
Yes,
Broker.
that was my first question. How did you think about, getting into health insurance? And this happened pre-COVID, right? So did you have a premonition that this was the right space to go? What made you go ahead with health insurance?
Well, I can claim to have 2020 hindsight, but on a lighter vein, I think the environment in India has been crying out for increased health insurance penetration. With all whatever statistics there is, we could make out that a lot of people out there, families, individuals, who are simply not covered with health insurance. Side by side, you have the increasing cost of hospitalization, health inflation. So this was something which is badly required by the country, by the nation, and in fact, particularly those who are financially excluded. I have had a privilege of having co-founded a housing finance company earlier, which was into the affordable housing sector. And I saw that there was very, very little coverage of health insurance. In fact, leave aside coverage, there was very little awareness about health insurance. So then I looked at what was it that it would take to actually increase penetration, and realized that the only way by which we can distribute effectively in a country like ours is to go digital. And that's the genesis of the Sana Insurance Brokers, because I do have some background in technology. So I wanted to leverage digital technologies to reach out to the potential customers and give them proper service at an attractive cost. So I think that's the context. I can elaborate more further, but yeah, that's the context.
Right. So, Srinath, you got into health insurance perhaps at that point of time, with the Ayushman Bharat plan that the government had announced. There was already some kind of awareness about, insurance for healthcare for the absolute lowest strata of the society. Now, there are already established health insurance players in our country, and their model is the agent's model, and that is how they grow their business. Did you have any doubts on this model that you were talking about the digital distribution? Because they were already established players in this field as well. So any doubts, or what did you work with? What made you confident that this is going to work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we did look at what was available in the market, and it was a peculiar anomaly. It was a crowded market of players, but with a very wide gap in the penetration. So that sort of caught my attention to say, what was it that was not allowing these players to penetrate into health insurance and give something which was needed? And I came across basically three reasons why I think this whole health insurance, particularly distribution, had not worked earlier. So people do not have trust. The health insurance buyers, as of now in India, irrespective of what we've been saying in the past, they do not trust health insurance. The second thing is they find health insurance to be very complex. So there's an essential and an element of complexity. People shy away. There is avoidance. There is but ostrich-like thing too. I don't want to get into that because there's so many terms and conditions. And the third thing was reach. So as you rightly said, from a BPL perspective, maybe the government schemes worked, but there's a big gap in the middle between the affluent folks who are well served and versus the BPL. What do you do with the people who are, let's say, SMEs or teachers who are not covered? So they have to be reached. Now, because health insurance is complex, that's one reason why I got into it. Otherwise, there could be other forms of insurance as well. Health insurance has about 100 odd parameters. how does any human agent actually keep track of all those 100 parameters and do the trade-offs? Not only that, they're also aligned to one particular insurer or the other. How do you give choice? There are about we on our portal we have about 20 health insurers with online connectivity. There are hundreds of plans. How do you help people choose with trust and at their on their fingertips, because they don't want to go to somewhere else to buy it? So these three combination basically help me get into the digital distribution.
Okay, Srinath, you spoke of trust, the lack of trust, which was a reason why health insurance hasn't taken off. Did you ever have any doubt that the customer is going to be more trusting of a faceless digital platform to buy a product than a human who he can talk to, clarify, and buy his insurance? Did this doubt ever rise that this trust issue is really not a big issue?
Yes, of course. That's the first thing you encounter, whether in the model that we went with. So we do have assisted sales as well in terms of phone support. So it's not that we have said that no, you are not going to speak to a human at all. But on the other hand, see the big challenge, and we did research on it. How do you sort of eliminate bias if there is a human involved, unless there is a knowledge base, there is technology supporting it? So let's look at what happens typically when you go to an agent. He will look at probably about 5 to 10 plans and will try to judge which one will fit. Probably, and this is true even of other aggregators and people out there. They may be aligned to a one insurer or the other. So one of the things that I did was to make sure, and this people think I'm foolhardy. We don't have any special deals with any insurer, because I think the one element that I wanted to build into the whole environment of trust is that we do not want to be supportive of any particular insurer. Starting with that, because our website, our material, our assistants, etc., they all understand this, that we are not biased towards any particular insurer and we have the interest of the customer in mind. That engenders trust. So I think that's the starting point, because any human agent is likely to have either limited information or will have inherent bias because they're commercially aligned with one or more insurer.
All right. I'm still trying to then understand, Srinath, that what is the USP of Sana? You said that there is no bias. I don't know how important that is for health insurance buyers, but I want to be informed when I'm buying. And if there is an information overload, you said 100 parameters, how does that make my buying decision any easier? What is the USP of Sana?
Very good question, which takes us to the next point that I mentioned about complexity. Because since health insurance is complex, so what we did was we actually have got people, experts, sit down, read through literally hundreds of plans and standardize them across parameters. So that when we do a comparison, and our sana.insure website actually supports that. So we do color coding, we do a pyramid structure so that people can understand at a glance which ones, how to compare one against the other. Not only that, what we have done is we have also gone beyond and actually integrated a scoring-based rule engine just to address this question, to say, suppose I enter my details, my age, my family details, and the PIN code, and the sum insured. So we have painstakingly done the scoring of various plans to say which one will fit yours the most. Now, there is a certain element of subjectivity, of course, in it, but I'm not going to run away from that. But at least the standardization helps in people understanding to say, what is it that we are getting, why we are getting it, and how does it compare with the others. It's great color coding, there's description. Yeah, so that's the way by which we have tried to address this question of complexity. Because you're right, trust and simplicity go side by side.
Right. And how do you see, Sana, altering the landscape of health insurance in our country? Like on one side, we do have the Ayushman Bharat that caters to a very small subset. There is a belief that the government may soon expand this for the middle class, which is a huge population, which is not covered adequately. at all at this time. The only alternative is private insurance. So how does the entry of Sana change the current health insurance landscape as it stands?
See, the one fundamental factor which is not quite known in the health insurance customer's mind is the amount of distribution cost that is factored into the premiums. Trust me, they range from around 40 to 45%. The 40 to 45% of the premium that a customer, you and I, pay for in terms of premium goes into distribution costs. It does not go into the hospitalization towards hospitalization expenses or the claims. So the idea of Sana is to actually use digital technologies, and not only just portal, through WhatsApp, through any means whatsoever, to drive down distribution costs, because that will drive down premiums. It will also support digitally. For example, we are getting a lot of interest for EMI based payments for health insurance, and so micro service, regular frequent microservice packetization into bite-sized chunks. All of that we will be at the forefront of, and that will change the game, because I think customers need it. It's just that they are either not reachable, which is the third element of reach that I mentioned earlier. We are trying to reach them through WhatsApp, because that's the omnipresent app. And over time, it will lead to a better penetration, because we will be able to drive down costs, we will be increasing trust, and we'll have reach.
Right. So could you give us some statistics on how large is your customer base? What is the projected growth? And I'm trying to understand the sense of revenues as well. You said distribution costs of companies go down. So how much of the benefit goes to you, and how much goes to the company and the end customer? Because I don't think health insurance is way cheaper because it's digital. Bought digitally.
Yeah, so see, this is a shift happening. If you notice, some insurers are actually giving discounts for direct website sign up, etc., for online. This is more so in motor than in health insurance. But I think if you suck out costs from the value chain, ultimately the customer is going to benefit, because there is intense competition. If suppose somebody is actually able to distribute at a better cost, they are going to lower premium to get a better market share. So I think it's still to come. It's not yet happened, because digital penetration is still seen as a anomaly. And it happens even in e-commerce. 10 years ago, if you were to say, look, people will buy saris online and without the touch and feel and experience, people would just laugh. But now they are. People are buying very high touch, goods and services online. Health insurance is going to go that way, because that is the direction. People will look at the convenience. The current wariness is about the trust and complexity, which is why we have hit upon it directly. Now, coming to revenues and statistical forecasts, if I think within 4 or 5 years, I expect us to at least have about 2 million customers. We are still very, very early days of that trajectory, but that's what we're aiming for. And of course, to begin with, there will be a certain percentage which will require assisted sales. But my forecast is we will see, as long as we are able to provide friendly technology, because technology also can be very clunky. So people will have the behavioral change. And before we started, I was talking about the fact that we actually got caught by surprise by COVID, because we are hoping that we will grow the brand with the behavioral change. Some of the behavioral change has already happened, but still to come. I think the shift to online purchase of health insurance is inevitable, and we want to be at the forefront of it.
Okay, I want to understand the prospect for your business specifically, because see, if I go to Amazon, I'm going to buy products like 100 times a year. Your customer is perhaps going to buy health insurance only once in a year. Then I want to understand, a customer can come to your website, compare the plans, and then like one and go to the website of that particular company and buy the product. What is the incentive to buy on your website, and how do you get more customers to come, because the purchase is made only once a year?
Sure. So I think that's a very relevant question which we thought deeply about. And so we have a wrapper of wellness around the core health insurance service that we are providing as part of Sana Insurance Brokers. So we have the holding company is actually Sana Health Solutions, where we are offering, we are just about assembling everything together, but we'll go to market very soon. So not only will our existing customers be able to take insurance from us and get support for claims, we will offer them choice, again, aggregated choice of wellness providers. We have already 10 large wellness providers, and we are adding another 4 or 5, so that customers will have choice of right from childcare through to geriatric old age care of wellness solutions through us. So that will build the relationships and keep it close, because people, and you're right, people don't necessarily love buying insurance. There's a sort of shying away from it, to say, oh, so insurance, nothing bad is going to happen. If I buy insurance, maybe something bad will happen. But people are very concerned about health and wellness. So therefore, we want to move into the emotional wellness care and protection of the customer, rather than only sell insurance.
Okay. But the Indian customer is very picky about price points too. So if they do purchase on your website, will it be comparable to what's available on another aggregator, or directly the insurance company's website?
Yeah. So see, on insurance, we are not allowed to, by regulation, to differentiate on price, and we don't intend to, because we are very clear on that. So our differentiator is the fact that we are in the service itself, the choice, and then also we are assuring customers to say, given the digital world, of 100% 24/7 claims assistance. So in fact, as you can imagine, a lot of times people said, for agents, they trusted the agent, but thereafter, when the need came for a claim, they really couldn't go find them often, unless they're the sort of neighborhood uncle or something. But we are built an organization which is going to be around, and we have built the systems so that we are not dependent on one officer or somebody. So it's really a very say intense CRM, customer relationship management, which we keep track of, and so that service is guaranteed. Now, beyond that, so if we can't differentiate on, let's say, price or discounts, which naturally we don't want to, we can do that in the wellness environment, because that's not a regulated environment. We are hell-bent on getting economies of scale. We have negotiated good partnerships with even the other providers. So as we have more on board, and for that we are also using our group health insurance business to gain traction, because that and the critical mass. So we are already covering about 20,000 lives. So therefore, we will leverage that to get the best deals for even wellness solutions.
So where is the target market for you? What is the growth projection you're looking at in the next 5 to 10 years, and how does it compare with the industry growth?
So as I said, my rough target is to say have 2 million customers, lives, I should be more precise. So there might be a fewer household, but 2 million lives covered in about 4 to 5 years. Some of it will come from group, some of it will, and bulk of it will come from individual and families. So revenue-wise, I mean, simple math will indicate. Of course, it depends on what's the average premium ticket, but 2 million is a good target to have to get a reasonable valuation, reasonable trajectory, and reasonable run rate.
Right. And could you tell us what are the initiatives you're taking? Because of the pandemic, we've seen a lot of awareness about health and insurance. So what has been the impact of the pandemic on your growth trajectory? And do you think this bump up which has been seen is something that can be sustained in the years ahead?
So we've been very thoughtful about that, and let me answer that in three parts. So one thing we have done is that in order to educate customers about all aspects of health insurance, because together with awareness, people have curiosity. So we have been putting out very high quality content, articles, materials on other portals, Quora, etc. So just to make sure that we literally take advantage of this curiosity which has been created by COVID. So that's at the education level. What we're also hoping, rather, is to see the momentum carrying on, because some things are irreversible in terms of awareness. You can't take away the knowledge of the fact that hospitalization expenses have crossed lakhs. See, the earlier perception in the average phase. I mean, I grew up in Udaipur, so which is a tier 2 city. I mean, the average expectation was that hospital ho jayega, it will cost about 50,000 rupees. Then all of a sudden, people have come to terms with the fact that no, it's 5 lakhs. So therefore, that is not going to be reversed that easily. And in terms of, I would say, will after COVID will it subside? If hospitalization and healthcare inflation subsides, then yes, it will be back to square one. But I think that cusp has been crossed, because people have realized that you see 85%, RBI had covered that statistics, of health care spending used to be taken care of by family and individual and savings or borrowings. How will an average man on the street borrow or beg 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs? They need insurance. There's no, in fact, even the Ayushman Bharat, the sum insured is 5 lakhs. So that itself indicates that the quantum that is required is significant, and the awareness has been reached through COVID.
Yes, actually, it is known that healthcare costs in India are largely out of pocket, and to the marginalized, a visit to the hospital or a hospitalization can actually drag them into abject poverty, which is why insurance is very important. Now, my last question to you is, you've in a crowded space, they're already aggregators, they're already companies who have the digital platforms, insurance companies who are selling the same thing. So to entrepreneurs who are looking out to start their own ventures, what's your advice when they're looking to get into something where they're already established players? There's one school of thought that says have the first mover advantage. The other second school of thought is that replicate what is successful. So what's your advice to all the entrepreneurs who are watching?
Okay, fair enough. So see, my guidance will be to any entrepreneur coming into a crowded market is to find a niche. And that niche, make sure that you understand the customer, the needs of that niche, and execute it to perfection in terms of delivery. So finding the niche, finding the proposition, and relentless execution is the only way. Take a look at Zoom, for example, versus the other players. It was a crowded market. There was WebEx, there was Teams, there was so many Google Hangouts, etc. But Zoom came and did execution of the quality intensely, and look where they are. So the same principle in a crowded market: find a niche, find the mechanisms to serve better than anybody else, and relentlessly execute.
All right. Thank you so much, Srinath, for joining us and sharing with us the journey of Sana, the plans that you have to grow it further, and the advice that you have for budding entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us on Green Shoots.
Thank you, Anisha. Really a pleasure. I really enjoyed the interaction, and all the best to your viewers. I will finish with this. People always ask, what does Sana mean? That's often asked questions. So in Sanskrit, Sana means everlasting. In Arabic, it means good. And in Latin, Sana means health. So when we say Sana, we are wishing you all everlasting good health, all of you. Stay well, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.